Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.
My brothers, my sisters, it is your man, the Duke, host of the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast. And I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to www.strictlyfortheculture.ca. Strictly for the Culture is one of the hottest brands in sports and entertainment today. Come on, you've seen the t-shirts, you've seen the hoodies on folks like Rodney Mack, the Reverend Ron Hunt, Jeremy Prophet, MLW World Champion Alex Kane, Mr. PWI 500, Jay Bougie, even your man, the Duke, and a lot of other podcasters and influencers. So I'll say it once again, www.strictlyfortheculture.ca. Do it for the love, do it for the respect, do it for the honor, but most of all, do it strictly for the culture.
Hello, it is the Suplex Queen, Tanaily, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
On this fine December 31st, 2023, the last day of 2023. Welcome back to the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, the show about pro wrestling and everything else. And I'm telling you right now, folks, I am going to knock your socks off with someone who I feel is going to be a big deal in the world of professional wrestling. Okay, she is the Suplex Queen. She is someone that you will never forget, not only because she is such a destroyer in the ring, but also because she has a pretty cool name. So without further ado, welcome to the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, Tanaily. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it. Tanaily. Perfect.
Well, it's a cool name, and I like saying it. Tanaily. In fact, I told you that I repeat it to myself, and I've been repeating it to myself leading up to this conversation just so I don't forget it, because it's like, that's a name, man. That's a cool name. You don't want to forget. Where does it come from? Tanaily. Where does that come from?
So it's a funny story. My mom actually made it up. She heard a name that was similar to it on a novela, which is like a soap opera in Spanish. And so the name was Tanaily. So it had an R instead of the L, and there was an S at the end of it. So she took out the S, took out the R, added the L, and it became Tanaily. That
is really, really cool. Now, hold on a second. Is that your puppy I hear in the background there?
It is. It's Trip.
Trip. Talk to me about Trip. What's the deal with Trip?
Trip, he's a little like Shih Tzu. He's white, nice little curls, and he only has 3 legs.
Oh, no. 3-leg Trip.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Trip a rescue?
He's a rescue.
That is awesome. Have you always had dogs in your family, or is this kind of a new thing for you here?
Yeah, well, yes and no. So my mom was really hesitant on getting dogs at first growing up. So it took a lot of convincing for me and my sisters. I want to say we didn't get a dog till I was like 15. But ever since then, yeah, I've had dogs.
That's really nice. Now tell me the truth, Tanaily. Is Trip your best friend?
Hell yeah.
See, I pay attention to stuff like that because they give great insight on who a person is. So, for instance, your best friend is your dog Trip, but in addition to just being your best friend, being your pet, he's also a rescue. And I find that just a really interesting clue into who you are as a person. And, folks are going to be interested because just looking at you look like you could be related to Roman Reigns and the Usos and everybody there. So once and for all, let us know, Give us the inside scoop on the bloodline, Tiny Tanaily. Are you Samoan?
No, I am not.
So you're
I am
not related to Roman
100%.
Reigns?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm 100% Puerto Rican. Muy boricua aquí.
Okay, so that's breaking news right there. Tiny Tanaily is not part of the bloodline. She is not Samoan. She is from Puerto Rico. Okay, so you are Caribbean, you are Latina. Great. And let me just say, bienvenidos. ¿Quién es su Ducla's Rasslin? That's right. I don't necessarily know what I said, but sábado, domingo, that's right. All right, that's all the Spanish that I know, other than saying a bunch of bad words, which I will not embarrass myself and do right here, but you get the point. That's right. Oye, como va? That's right. Anyways, so you said you're 100% Puerto Rican, so that means that the whole family comes from over there.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom and that whole side of the family is from Jamaica, so I'm Caribbean myself as well, and I love it. I love the fact that whether we're talking food or the arts, like music, or just, different sayings, culture, right? It's so cool to have that within my makeup. For you, what's the best part about being Puerto Rican?
Best part is the community, like itself. All Puerto Ricans, like you go to the island and it's like you get there and everybody's family, even if you don't know them. You walk in, everyone says hi, hello, like how are you? And it's a good atmosphere in general.
A great example of exactly what you just described is when Zelina Vega was able to challenge for the WWE Women's Championship in Puerto Rico. And it just felt like everyone in attendance were there to support their homegirl. You know what I mean? Their sister, their cousin, their daughter. So cool. So that's pretty cool that you described that in terms of the culture being so welcoming and being like family. Do you envision yourself one day having a moment similar to what Zelina experienced there, where you're able to go back home and perform in front of everyone and get that type of warm response?
Oh, 100%. It's definitely like a big goal of mine to wrestle in Puerto Rico and have all my family there and just, all my people.
All right. So Tiny Tanaily is not Samoan. She's Puerto Rican, so she's not part of the bloodline. So we've already dispelled one rumor that's been floating around out there. So let's jump to the next one here, because I've heard an interesting range when it comes to your height. Some people say that you're 5'5", some say that you're 5 feet, some say that you're even shorter than that. So, let's get to it, because you are quote unquote tiny. What is your height?
I am 4'10".
4'10".
Yep, so a little under 5.
That is incredible. Wow. Okay. So what's the best part about being 4'10"?
You can fit into small places. No, I would say that it's people underestimate you a lot. One of the best things, like for me, is being underestimated, because they definitely regret it later on.
Well, there's no question about that. I mean, you are the Suplex Queen, and it's impressive, but it's also scary to see you pick up people so much bigger than you and just toss them like a sack of potatoes. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm one of those people that I study the whole movement. So I'm looking at your legs when you're doing your lifts, and your legs are tree trunks. I mean, legitimately, like, damn, okay, that's explosive power that she gets right there. But it didn't start in pro wrestling, did it?
It did not.
Take me back to your combat days, because you're somebody who has been fighting for many, many years, right?
Over a decade now. So my school was a K through 8. So I was a teaching assistant for a second grade teacher who happened to also be the wrestling coach. And one day we were talking about literally WWE, and he was like, "Oh, well, like I'm the wrestling coach. Like, why don't you try out?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he said, "It doesn't even matter. You probably wouldn't even be good. You're really tiny." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And that's where it all began. And after that, I started in 8th grade. I believe I got second in the county my first year wrestling. I moved on to high school, and every year I was top 6 in the state. So my freshman year I was 4th. My sophomore year I was 2nd. Junior year I got 2nd, and then my senior year I was the state champion. And then I also did outside of school tournaments to like get on the national team for Florida, where I got my 2 state championships in freestyle wrestling, and I was able to wrestle on Team Florida against, other states. After that, I got my scholarship to wrestle in college. I went to Missouri Baptist University and wrestled there for 3 years.
Everyone listening right now, stop what you're doing and go check out Tanaily online, whether it be, Instagram. Let me drive you to her Instagram there, and you'll see that Tiny is built like the prototypical wrestler. And I'm not talking pro wrestler. I'm talking like Olympic wrestler. Just incredible. This is somebody who has been completely dedicated to the sport. In fact, this is a fun one. Do you have cauliflower ear?
I do. I don't have it on the outside of my ear, so I can't really show it off, but I have it on the inside of my ear, so it's really hard to wear earphones.
See, so you're a competitive wrestler. You're, Olympic level wrestler is what we would call that. You wrestled in grade school. You wrestled in college. It's the real deal. Talk to me about the challenges of being a wrestler. Like, what would you say is the biggest challenge, especially at the level that you've competed on?
Cutting weight, 100%. So what wrestlers tend to do a lot is, we try, we want to be at the best physical strength that we are. And every wrestler, if you're at a high level, cuts weight to get to the lowest weight they can be, but, at the best strength that they could be. And man, those that week before going into a tournament is just crazy because you're training so much and then you're also trying to lose so much weight that it's so much. But then, finally, once you weigh in and you eat your food, you're ready to go.
That's interesting because I know runners, they carb load, especially right before a big race. But for wrestlers and even for yourself in particular, do you save the big meal for after your competition?
Yeah, so for me, I always like to eat fruits before I wrestle. I don't like to do anything too heavy because, you don't want to weigh yourself down either. You want to get the energy. So I would do some chocolate milk and then pineapples, apples, bananas, and maybe a granola bar. And then I always got my Celsius.
Okay. Celsius. If you're listening, you definitely need to call up Tanaily there. I mean, that's somebody who could be the face of your brand for sure. That'd be awesome. Celsius energy drink. I actually just had one the other day. It's funny that you bring that up there.
Yeah, you got to try the peach mango one.
That was the one that I had. I was just about to say
good.
mango peach. Yes, that was the one that I had. Delicious Celsius. There's a plug for you. And I find that interesting. You said, you eat a lot of fruits before the competition. I know that is the super athlete in you. You figured out what works for your body in that regard. But I got to imagine the foundation of having your roots from Puerto Rico, where fruits are such an important part of the culture as well. My mom's from Jamaica. So, we're Caribbean as well. And fruits are definitely huge. It's a big deal. We got to have our fruits, our mango and pineapple and things like that. So I hear what you're saying there. So do you feel that the way that you were brought up and the culture from a food standpoint has assisted you in becoming the athlete that you are?
100%. When it comes to of course, the fruits, the veggies and everything, but also the rice and beans, it puts meat on your bones. It helps with that muscle.
It sure does. Now, what about your proteins there? Other than the beans, I should say there. Are there any special proteins that you zero in on in order to keep yourself the way that you want to be built?
Yeah, I eat a lot of chicken. Chicken's the main protein that I go for.
Okay. All right. I need your help here because if you haven't noticed by now, the Duke is all about food. I love wrestling, but I also love food here. So take me through a tiny chicken. Okay. If you're going to make it special, and it doesn't even have to be while you're competing, just in general, when you want to treat yourself, but you're cooking it yourself, how are you preparing this chicken?
Oh, well, I mean, I cook very Hispanic. So, you need the sazon, you need adobo. The regular season, I like a little bit of Cheyenne pepper on my chicken too, have it a little spicy. And then, eat it with some rice and beans.
Okay.
But you
So
gotta have a piece of everything all together.
literally, a piece of everything all together. So that means that
Yeah.
on your
So
fork, you got chicken, you got rice, you got beans, you got a little vegetable on there.
you got it's avocado.
Oh,
Get with
of
the
course.
avocado.
Of course. Avocado. Now, is there a difference in the Puerto Rican avocado versus? I mean, most of our avocados in the grocery stores are actually from Mexico, some from Guatemala. But are there any special avocado from Puerto Rico?
My grandma has an avocado tree, so I eat her avocados.
Yeah, see that, and I bet you they're much bigger than the nonsense you get in the
They're
store.
so big.
Yeah. Same thing in Jamaica. Same thing. It doesn't even look the same. It's like a totally different fruit. Technically, avocado is a fruit. A lot of people think it's a vegetable, but it's a fruit there, a stone fruit in particular. But yeah, that's good stuff there. You know, I'm asking you these questions because you have a personality that is infectious, right? There are many layers to you, and it's very interesting just to have general conversation with you because in the ring, you are, dare I say, a destroyer, a terminator, a killer. You know, so it's like you turn on this switch, and whoever's standing across from you, they're going to have a tough night because you're going to dump them, you're going to drop them, you're going to pick them up and slam them, you're going to German suplex them. I saw you take a girl, and you picked her up and threw her over your head backwards, and I thought you were going to do a German suplex bridge. And you started to do the bridge halfway, but you didn't go all the way down. You just kind of tossed her. And I was like, what the hell was that?
It's my pump handle suplex.
That was it. That's right. You started off with a pump handle and you did that. So these throws and what have you, how much of that is from your collegiate wrestling days and how much of that is just you improvising?
Most of it is from wrestling, honestly. When it comes to the pump handle one, I was practicing it one day and I did it and I just didn't fall with it. Like I stayed up and I ended up bridging back up and I was like, hold on, that's it. Like that's the move. Like we're doing it like that from now on. So that one, it kind of just happened. So there's things like that where it happens. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, wrestling, whether it's pro wrestling, amateur wrestling, it's advancing every day. There's new moves every single day. So, of course, it's going to be like improvising when things happen. And, but a lot of it's definitely from like collegiate wrestling, especially like my German suplex. I practiced my German suplex so much. Once I found out that I was I got signed and everything to college, because in high school, German suplexes are not allowed. Like it's illegal. You can't do them. But in college, they're legal. So I just wanted to hit one so bad that every day after practice, I would do 50 German suplexes so I could perfect them. And that's like after all the training and everything.
You know, I've seen one of your pro wrestling training videos where you were doing Germans, and it's interesting to see you, the repetition, see you doing it over and over again and what have you. It's like, wow, yeah, you've definitely trained your body and trained your back to be able to do that, and it's poetry in motion. You know, there's no question about that there. Now, do you have a belly to belly suplex in your repertoire there? Because I haven't seen it yet. That's why I'm asking.
I do, but I don't do the overhead belly to belly too much. I've done it a few times, but I prefer the one where, so I bridge back and right before like my head touches, I turn.
Yeah.
So they land flat on their back. Yep. And I land right into the pin. Got
it. So there's an old school wrestler by the name of Magnum TA. Mm-hmm. Okay. Terry Allen, Magnum TA. And I'll send you some of his videos there. And everyone listening too, of course, you know, those of us who grew up watching wrestling in the 80s, we all know who Magnum is. But if you're a younger listener, which we definitely have a bunch of those, I encourage you, stop what you're doing, go to YouTube, type in Magnum TA, and take a look at this guy's belly to belly suplex. He used to call it the belly to belly suplex. Okay, they had to be fancy about it there. But one of the best belly to belly suplexes that you'll ever see, and this is like from the mid 80s. And this guy had classic matches against Tully Blanchard and Ric Flair and guys like that there. Unfortunately, a tragic car accident cut his career short, but he's still alive. He's still going strong there. But he couldn't wrestle anymore. But his belly to belly, I want to see yours, and I want to compare the two, because I bet you that if you take a look at his, there might be something that you can incorporate in there. Because you can pick anybody up and throw them. In fact, I'm afraid of you, which is why I'm being nice to you, because I don't want you to get pissed off and throw me around. That wouldn't be nice. But it's interesting. So, like you said, people, they look at you and they think they know, and they think that they have an impression. The bell rings and something totally different happens, where you're just in charge, you're taking over, you're beating the hell out of people. And I've seen you in tag matches with Persia Pierce, who has a hell of an aggressive streak in the ring as well. When you two are in the ring together against opponents, do you find that after like the first minute or so that these girls are ready to just tap out and leave with their Whitney boy there? I mean, talk to me about that moment when they realize, oh, these aren't just, nice, sweet ladies here. These are killers in the ring, literally.
Yeah, I mean, I love working with Persia. She's awesome. She's aggressive, and nowadays it's like you don't find too many girls that have that like really aggressive streak in them and have a great technique behind it too. And it's crazy because she's the submission queen and I'm the suplex queen, so we just work perfect. We're the queens of combat. So when we get in there, if they don't believe the name, they're gonna know it when we're done.
You two remind me of the Steiner brothers, and I know you're not men, but the point is still a point. They were both great collegiate wrestlers who came to pro wrestling, and I know Persia is more of a martial artist as opposed to a wrestler, but the same concept there. She's a submission queen. You're the suplex queen. The Steiners, just the way that they could dominate, they could wrestle with anyone. They would take these flippy dippy peanut butter skippy wrestlers who always wanted to do these acrobatics, and they would ground them and pound them and wear them down. So with your suplexes and then Persia coming in to put on the submission hold, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch.
Oh yeah.
Incredible. So what can we expect? I mean, we got 2024 coming up, and I know that you've been doing your thing down in Florida, making a name for yourself here. When are we going to see you travel the world? When are we going to see you on television? When are we going to be able to say, here we have the greatest technical wrestler walking the planet today? When is that going to happen, Tiny?
Hopefully sooner rather than later. With me, I'm ready when the opportunity presents itself, and that's how I feel about it. At the end of the day, whatever the opportunity is, once I'm in there, I'm going to get it. I'm going to wrestle, and you're going to see that, I am and I will be the best technical wrestler in the world, and that will happen.
I love that. So all you promoters out there, get your stuff together. Literally, you have a diamond. I can't even say she's in the rough because she's already shining. So you literally have a diamond that can sparkle much brighter. So, take a look at Tiny Tanaily and figure it out. But she's out there, man. She's coming. And the Duke hasn't been wrong yet. I've put names out there and they've been taken over. I've talked about folks like Thunder Rosa before she hit it big. And now we all know who she is, right? We've talked about folks like Tiffany Nieves. She's a double champion right now. Layla Gray, she's former OVW champion. She's doing her thing on TV as well. The Renegade Twins, they've been tag team champs all over. So I know the talent when I see it. And there's something about Tiny that, no disrespect to anybody else who I just named, but oh my God, this young lady right here, I'm telling you, man, she is going to be huge, not big, but huge, which is ironic because her name is Tiny. So figure that one out. If anyone wants to keep up with what you have going on, or if they want to reach out to you and do some business, what's the best way that folks can reach you?
So all my social medias, they're the same. It's at TanailySuplex. So at TANAILY Suplex. And there's a link to my email for bookings on all of them as well.
Awesome. Before I let you go, a great friend of the show, Low Key, he has taken a very serious interest in you and helping you with your development as well. Talk to me about the relationship with Low Key there.
Well, he's my coach. He's awesome. Before I started with him, it was really hard to find a trainer that I felt fit me and my style and, you know, could advance me in the right way without kind of like taking my amateur wrestling away from me. So once I met him, it was just like everything, it clicked even more, you know? And he continues to help me advance and just train. I just finished training about an hour or two ago with him. And, you know, every day, every time we train, it's something new. You know, you learn something new and we have rounds at the end. So we're working out, we're learning, and we're always training. So it's definitely like, what's the word? It's just awesome to have somebody like him in your corner.
I love that. I love that. Now, have you brought him any Puerto Rican food at all? I mean, come on. Have you shared any of the chicken at least with the guy?
I can't say I share the chicken, but he loves to eat. So we've definitely all been out as a team. I've seen him eat a whole pie of pizza while like talking the whole time. And I swear I never saw him take a bite. But like I looked we started eating. 10 minutes passed. I swear he's talking the whole time, and somehow the pizza's gone.
I love that. And he has that big laugh of his, too, when he talks about how much food he can eat. Like, oh yeah.
No, oh, my God. He eats so much. It's crazy. I'm like, where does it go?
Where does it go? Because he looks better today than he did 20 years ago.
Yeah, he does. And he has like 4 stomachs. I don't know what it is.
Let me tell you something, Tiny, because I know that you're a few years younger than we are. Low-key, legitimately, is one of the most influential pro wrestlers of the past 20 years. And I'm not saying that as a joke either. That's legit. They built that entire Ring of Honor company around him. Mm-hmm. And when Impact Wrestling figured out their X division, they built that around him. Here is a guy that to this day, a lot of the moves that you see people do, they got it originally from Low-key. So his influence continues to, shine. And certainly with folks like yourself and Persia and some of these other folks that he's trained, that legacy will continue, even though he's still competing when he feels like it there. But to be able to sit under the learning tree of somebody who's influenced so many people in the industry, it's a treat. And it's an honor. And I'll tell you, what I respect about you is the fact that you don't take that lightly. And every time you step in that ring, you show it. You show that, yes, you're honoring those, whether it's your family, or whether it's somebody like your coach, like Low-key, most importantly, honoring yourself. When you step in that ring, you're not embarrassing anybody or the industry, which is such a joy to see, because so many other people make a fool of themselves in the ring, which is unfortunate. So to see somebody who is a legitimate athlete, Olympic level athlete, step in the ring, take care of business, come out and still be a great person all at the same time there. It's a joy, and I wish you nothing but success in 2024 and beyond.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Check out Liquid IV. Listen, it's the holiday season, folks, and you and I both know hydration is paramount. Okay, if you want to get through the shopping, if you want to get through visiting the family and friends, the sports and live events, come on. Got to make sure you stay hydrated, and there's no better way that I know of than Liquid IV. Okay, packed with B vitamins and all your other essential vitamins and nutrients there. Tastes great. You just take that hydration stick, you put it in a bottle of water, shake that sucker up, and enjoy. Telling you, shop better hydration today. In fact, if you visit liquidiv.com right now, you'll save 20% on your entire order by using the promo code Duke Loves Rasslin. That's right, Duke Loves Rasslin. No spaces, going to get you 20% off. What are you waiting for? liquidiv.com. Enjoy. And now, let's get on with the show. Fantastic conversation there with Tanaily. Just cool name, cool person. Can beat the hell out of everybody. Suplex you to here, there, and everywhere. That's right. Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter. DukeLovesRasslin@gmail.com. As always, let me know what you think. Folks, I want you to do me a favor. Please be safe out there. Don't drink and drive. I say it every year, but I mean it. Don't drink and drive. It's not worth it. Be careful. You don't want to do harm to yourself or do harm to others, because, as I always say, be kind to yourselves and then be kind to others. So please be careful out there. And I want to thank you again 2023, fantastic year for the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast. One of the shows in the top 10% of all listened to podcasts in the world. That doesn't happen without you. So thank you not only for listening, but also for telling your friend, telling your family, telling somebody about the show, because it's not like I'm out here with some big marketing budget or anything like that. No, the word spreads because of you. And I don't take that lightly. And because of that, you can expect in 2024, we're going to have more fantastic independent wrestlers who are on the come up, like Tanaily. Of course, we'll have folks who are returning guests to check on their progress. And we'll have our Hall of Famers as well. You can count on a mixed bag of great content here on the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, because that is what you demand from me. And that's what I'm going to continue to deliver. So, for the final time in the year 2023, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.